on the News Channel 5 network. This is SportsLine.
Hey there, SportsLine on your television. Steve Lehman here with you. Glad you are here with us on this Wednesday night on News Channel 5. Plus, had a lot of good discussion last night on the Titans, the direction they are headed. We certainly can continue that tonight. Mike Mularkey, is he your guy? What do you want to see down these final three games? And what would you do if he's not your guy? What's your plan for the offseason? We can certainly continue that discussion tonight, 737-7767. But this week, the Titans have the toughest test on their schedule. They go to Foxborough to take on the Super Bowl champs, Tom Brady, Bill Belichick, and the New England Patriots. And when you look at them, they have continued to turn out wins, and it's not always because that offense is completely loaded. It's not always because the defense is completely loaded, but they are well coached, they are disciplined, they are always prepared, and the common denominator is they have a quarterback in place in Tom Brady, and they have a head coach in place. We know the head coach piece is up in the air here in Nashville. Whether it'll be Mike Mularkey permanently, whether it'll be somebody else from the outside, those are questions that will be answered in the offseason. But from what you've seen from Marcus Mariota to this point, do you believe Marcus Mariota can be, I don't want to say the next Tom Brady, because Brady's on the short list for greatest quarterbacks of all time in the National Football League. But can Marcus Mariota, in your mind, be the next Drew Brees or the next Andrew Luck, so to speak? Where does he fit? What's his ceiling to you? There's some good quarterbacks in this football league. There's some really good quarterbacks that only have one Super Bowl to their name. Aaron Rodgers, Peyton Manning. Obviously, Brady's the guy who's got an entire handful. But what is Marcus Mariota's ceiling to you? Are you completely comfortable with him being the guy, the franchise quarterback? Do you think he's that? Do you think he can be an elite-level quarterback in the NFL? Do you think he can be, at some point, maybe the best quarterback in the NFL? Guys like Brady and Manning aren't going to play forever. At some point, can he be in that discussion? Curious on, now that you've seen him for, well, we're 13 games into the season. He missed a week. But 12 games of his NFL career. How sold are you on Marcus Mariota? Because that's a big part of this. You got to get the organizational structure right. But do you think the Titans finally have the quarterback right? They had Steve McNair, and things were so good when he was the consistent guy that you knew was going to be behind center. But then you draft Vince Young, and that became a mess for this franchise. Set them back years. And then you go out and you draft Jake Locker at the top of the first round. He was unable to stay healthy. This team was unable to continue to win games. Basically another 5-year process to get to this point now. So it's been a decade since the Titans have had a reliable starting quarterback that you just know is the guy, that it's his team and he's going to be out there each and every week. They certainly believe Marcus Mariota is that guy. Almost through one season, do you believe Marcus Mariota is that guy? 737-7767 is our number tonight. We would love to hear from you on this discussion. And then the second part of that is, as we evaluate this whole thing, what part in your mind does Rustin Webster play in this scenario? And I know people are quick to want to pull the trigger because they just don't like the direction things are going and they want to clean house. But at some point you have to keep some level of continuity, and you got to find the right guys to get the job done. Rustin Webster's been in the organization for a while. He hasn't always been calling the shots. And I think it's unclear just how much of an impact he had in the draft war room the last couple of seasons with Ken Wisenhunt there. Wisenhunt had a huge amount of influence over everything that happened at St. Thomas Sports Park was there. I mean, pictures on the wall. He put his hands into what they were going to look like and how they were going to go down. That was just the way he operated. So when you think about it like that, don't you think he had a pretty big part in the draft choices the Titans had? And the draft choices they made, the Dorial Green Beckham pick, the large amount of offensive picks that they've made. So I know when you're the general manager, it's easy to heap criticism on what Rustin Webster has done to this point. But how much of it was him and how much of it was dictated to him? Those, I think, are important questions you have to ask as you look at what responsibility he has and what his future with this organization should be. But this weekend in Foxborough will be a very interesting test for the Titans. Obviously, last time they went up there, it was 59-0. That Titans team was a lot better than this Titans team is. Kind of a model look at what you'd ideally want to be. Longtime coach, a system in place for the organization, and a longtime quarterback. I think the Titans probably are fortunate in the fact that they sort of got a wake-up call against the Jets. They played a few games against teams that will not be playoff teams. They were in all of them. They won the previous week against Jacksonville. And they went up to New York last week, and they did not look to be ready to take on a team that's probably a playoff caliber team. In my mind, I think it's a good thing that they had that game before now going to Gillette Stadium. Because the Patriots are a different animal, obviously. So we'll see. We'll see if they come out and they dot all the I's and cross all the T's this week, because the biggest learning process for this young team isn't necessarily going to be on the field between the lines on Sunday. It's all the preparation that goes into facing a Bill Belichick Patriots team. You look at them offensively, and some weeks they come out and they just pound it at you on the ground. And then the very next week they'll come out and throw it 50 times against you. And defensively, they do everything in the book, but they don't do it every week. It's a new game plan, very much based off of the opponent that they are playing. And talking to Mike Mularkey today, he said, look, film study is intense for the coaching staff, but you've got to boil it down to your players and let them know these are the possibilities. And he said, look, at this point of the year, you've seen everything. There's not going to be a blitz that's really created that you've just never seen before. The problem is having it all on top of the mind of awareness and being prepared for anything that can come. Because you can study the last 3 games or 4 games of the Patriots and not see any of that stuff. And so, as he said, this week is sort of a complete refresher course. A lot of pop quizzes going on in the meeting rooms this week to just get a feel of whether these young guys know all their responsibilities and are ready to go. But ultimately, you step on that field on Sunday, and chances are you're going to see something that maybe you've seen before, but weren't necessarily expecting and probably haven't seen for some time. And the question then is, how do you react? Veteran teams even have issues with that, reacting against the Patriots. This is a very young team with a rookie quarterback, so it's going to be very interesting to see how they go up there and handle that this weekend. 737-7767 is the number. The question of the night tonight, from me to you, is the Patriots are obviously the model right now in the NFL. 4 Super Bowl titles in this millennium. couple other Super Bowl appearances during that time. Stability in the organization. Great owner, great plan with their scouting department, how they hoard draft picks, draft very well, do it the Patriots way. The way that locker room is very well publicized. The accountability that they have within that locker room. Bill Belichick, certainly stable, very good coach. And when you've been there for a long time, your way, that way of intense preparation, that way of trying new things each week to give yourself an advantage, that's old hat for those guys in that locker room. And then you have the piece in Marcus Mariota. So in Tom Brady being the consistent quarterback there. The question is, if you're the Titans, if you're a fan of the Titans, have you seen enough now in the early stages with Marcus Mariota to believe that he at least can be that foundational piece to build your own franchise that can last and can compete in the National Football League? We know there's plenty of other issues. There's a lot of holes on defense. They need more things around Mariota. They obviously have to make a decision about quarterback or about head coach, and they've got to make a decision about what the franchise direction is going to be. But the one thing that the belief is at St. Thomas Sports Park is that Marcus Mariota is the guy, that he is the piece to build around. Have you now seen enough that you believe that? What is the ceiling? Is he a franchise quarterback? Is he the next Drew Brees? Is he the next Aaron Rodgers? What can he be to you? Russell Wilson? Maybe a great example there. If you think it's too early to put him in your mind as a guy who can grow into one of the elites in the quarterback realm of the National Football League, maybe Wilson's the right guy. A guy who's become a very good quarterback that when the right pieces are around him can lead you to Super Bowls. What do you think that ceiling is for Marcus Mariota based off of what you've seen? Not knowing the other things, but just how good of a player can he be in your mind? 737-7767 is the number. We will get to your phone calls. We'll also hear from some of the Titans as we move on here tonight. You're watching SportsLine on News Channel 5+.